good evening, and welcome to another episode of Easy Gates Online Painting Club. My name's Danny, it says it right down at the bottom of the screen. I hope you've been well. I've had a really good week. Yeah, it's just going to be me again this week, like it has been for the last few weeks without Kyle. So if you're expecting Kyle, a part of his fan club, we know that Kyle is going to be indispensed, probably until the summer. So, hey Kyle, if you're watching, hope you're doing well, mate. I hope you're catching up on all your work. Yeah, so it's just going to be me. I'd love to know what you guys are up to. If you are going to be painting something this evening, I'd love to know what it is that you're going to be doing this evening. Drop us a little line in the live chat over there. I can see that we've got someone come to join us already, Jeff Lacey. Oi oi, hi, thanks very much for coming along. I know that people are often just a few minutes later, so we might be seeing an influx of viewers coming in just a bit. If you're new to this channel, don't forget, excuse me, if you are new to this channel, I've just had dinner, can you tell? This isn't a tutorial channel, it's just a painting club. Come along, bring your stuff with you, get it painted if you want to, talk to people in the live chat, talk to me, come and see what you think, and you know, maybe you want to share some tips, maybe some tricks that you've got with your painting, maybe you're having a bit of a lull and you're looking for some motivation, or maybe you're just going to finish your stuff and you want to kind of show it off and talk about it and get some praise. That's what this show is all about for you. So I'm going to be here with you, with Adrian and Jeff and probably everybody else who's going to come along for the next 2 hours. And yeah, let's get some painting done. I've been, for the last few weeks, just doing the same bits and pieces, and I realised that I think I've hit this kind of a wall. So I'm really like trying now to just push through and break that barrier. And I think I've not cracked it, but I think I understand what it is that's kind of slowing me down. If you like what we do here, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're also on Discord and here on YouTube as well. So if you like what we do, maybe like, maybe follow what we do. But it really helps us out if you could subscribe to this channel. So if you haven't done that already, or you're new and you haven't done it, then please consider smashing that button. Maybe invite a friend, bring them along and kind of get them involved as well. And get them to smash that subscribe button. Such a small thing from your end really helps us out at this end over here to make this channel so much cooler and bigger and more special and, you know, bring the community to you. Adrian says, good evening. Let's hope this week goes without those pesky internet issues. Yes, I was going to wait for a little bit before, you know, there was only a few people online. If there's going to be a few more coming on, maybe it's nice to kind of talk to those guys directly, but it is a good place to mention that for the last few weeks, I have been experiencing some serious internet issues in my house here. And if I was recording my videos, then it wouldn't be so much of a problem because I could just record them and upload them. But the whole deal, what we do here is a painting club for everybody, not just like a little community painting club. So it's live stream, and it's become my shtick. It's what we do at Easy 8. We make live videos. We don't do pre-recording. We like all the bits that's raw and fresh and warts and all. But it does mean that if we get a dropout on the internet, that we lose the video feed, and it's been happening a lot. And that's one of the first things that I really wanted to talk about. If you come from Facebook and seen the link over there, then you would have seen that I owe an apology to you for that drop in professionalism. It's beyond my ability to prevent that from happening. The software that I use is supposed to automatically reconnect, and it tries and it doesn't, and I'm like, and it might just be that I'm missing a simple button somewhere along the line. I just don't know how to do it. I have been looking to seek ways to help prevent it. What has helped is that we have not necessarily had an engineer out for our internet. We have been battling to have one now for 2.5 months. We still haven't had that engineer out, but we did speak to someone who was very helpful about our internet with our internet providers. And they have sent us out a new router because apparently for the last 4, 5, maybe 6 years that we've been with this provider, we've been using the wrong router. They sent us the wrong one. So hopefully this new router is the end of all of my problems. Only time will tell. It's been installed for about 6 days, maybe 7, and we're supposed to give it about 10, maybe a bit more, to make sure that it kind of settles in. All the updates that they're doing at their end are going to help stabilize the channel, and that this show should experience no more hitches. There is every chance that it could happen again, and I just don't know what to say apart from I'm sorry. If it does happen, I get a little chime in my headphones, I know that's it, and I will just go straight to YouTube and I will start another video. So you'll notice that in the video playlist up to date that there are several that have like part 2, and if it happens, that's when it will go. If it's gonna keep on happening, if the connection gets really terrible and there's no point in doing a show, what I will do is I will head on over to Discord and I'll do it there. It just means it's not going to get uploaded to YouTube, but at least you guys kind of get to experience what it is that you've come here for. So if you do want to go to Discord, we have a Discord channel now, and it's really cool, and we call it the Easy 8 After Party. So just make yourselves a little profile on Discord, head on over there, verify your email, because it's part of the terms and conditions for Discord, but it's really simple. It's just like, you know, setting up an email address, I suppose, and then join the Easy 8 Discord server. On Facebook, there is a link there. In the description to this video, just down there somewhere, there is also a little link. Just click on that, it takes you straight there. There's an invite, off you go. And there are so many channels that you can go to. You can talk to all your friends who are on Easy 8. It's a small community at the moment. We have a small community anyway, humble but really good, and you're really well natured, and that's what I like. You can just go on over there and join in all the people. You can show off all your models. All the videos that are uploaded to YouTube have links on there, so you could just use Discord as your like Easy 8 hub. I love it. It's brilliant. I don't know why I haven't done anything with it before. Yeah, so that's where you can go. Brilliant. Cool. Anyway, would love to know what it is that you're doing today. So if you are painting something this evening and cracking on with something, let us know over there in the live chat. Tell us what you're painting. Maybe take some pictures, stick them up on YouTube, stick them up on Discord, wherever you want to. Show us. I'm interested. That's what we're here for. Anyway, I just wanted to make sure that I'm going through my itinerary of things I wanted to talk about. So that was my apology, and that has been the discussion about my continued internet problems and disconnects. I'm humbly sorry. I tried to provide a fun and chilled and humble service as an online club, and the internet ruins it every time. Anyway, I did a thing, and now I'm cross. This is my cross face. Yeah, I know, I'm too British for this. So, am I cross? I am. Do you know what? I'm actually cross at you. That's right, I'm cross with you, the community. One person individual. One person in... Yeah, one person in particular, that's what I'm trying to say. And you know who it is, and I know who you are. Adrian. Yeah. So, some delightful chap, one of my viewers, did a thing for me, and it was really nice. Thank you very much. I got given some beers as a thank you for something I did for Adrian some months ago during the pandemic, and he bought me some beers for it and brought them over when he was allowed to. And at that time, he dropped them off on my doorstep and dropped off this really big Ziploc bag. And inside here, I'll show you in a minute, are all the parts to make an armature warglaive or a Helviger or whatever they are called. The mini knights. The wonderful. It's a whole knight. Look at it. It's all in there. Adrian, thank you very much. I didn't realise how big this model was. I've never seen one in front of my face. I didn't look at the size of the base. It's an enormous thing. I was expecting it to be something like this. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. That's huge, and it must have been expensive. And you said you had one spare, dude. You got too much spare stuff, and you're going on. So I got really worked up. I'm really excited about this because I have been given by members of the community lots of free models here and there. Thank you, everyone. Thank you ever so much for all of the things that you send my way. I've been given some Necrons. I've been given some tanks. I've got some airplanes on the way. I've been given this bad boy. I've got some orcs somewhere along the line. A whole box of Tyranids. Here's Leslie. Yodel, how's all? And then we've got Adrian says, "'Tis a warglaive." Thank you very much. Hi, Leslie. Thanks for coming along. So yeah, I've got this. And I've always wanted to, and I've just never gone and bought one. So thank you very much for that. That is very, very generous and very, very kind. Yeah, and it gives you a shout out on telly, right? Yeah, cool. So I thought, one day maybe I'll get around to that and I'll paint it as a part of the show. But this is where it makes me cross, and you should be ashamed of yourself. And yeah, is that it made me want to do something with it and spend more money. So I did. I went and bought a new book because I thought, wouldn't that be lovely if it was a part of a Skitarii force? so I went and bought the new Adeptus Mechanicus Codex. So yeah, I did a thing, and now I'm planning making a Skitarii force, and I'm gonna have like the armature as a part of it, and everything. Yeah. So the book is a beautiful book, and I'll go through it quickly. I know this is a painting club, so I'll show you briefly some of the artwork. It's very, very wordy. If you are a gamer who likes to really put a lot of detail and min-max everything, this is definitely the book for you. It's incredible. Some might say too much, but it's a really nice thing of an evening, because we all know I work a lot now. And I do some pretty intense days, and I do some very long days. And at the moment, I'm actually on a 9-day week, which is an average week actually. Sometimes it's just nice to come home at the end of a long day, sit down with a cold beer in the quiet, and just flick through a very complicated book. It's got some beautiful artwork. It's got some wonderful models in there as well. So my intention is, with all the different ideas I've been kind of throwing about over the last few episodes, is that I'm actually going to try and plan and build a quick force of Skitarii, and then once I kind of got my paint scheme honed in, I'll do the armature as well. Now this is on top of all the Tyranids I'm trying to paint, all the mini tanks that I'm trying to paint, the big 135th build, so I'm not going to do it just yet. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some money aside for some units. I've kind of got a basic plan of what I want, and I'm going to do small units that will be good to start off with, maybe like a little kill team or something like that. And I'm going to just play with some colours that I haven't played with before, so I'm thinking oranges. So if you know your Skitarii, probably Riser. Yeah, so thanks Adrian for making me go out and spend more money. Cheers, mate. It was a really nice gesture, that model. I really appreciate it. And it just means that now I get to plan something nice for the show. Because I've hit a bit of a lull in Easy Gates Painting Club. Been doing the same things on and off the last couple of weeks. That's what a painting club is about. It's about just kind of getting on and doing the stuff that you want to do. But obviously, when you're doing a show, you want to do something a little bit more interesting than just the same old stuff every time. So yeah, I'm going to build a Skitarii force, and once I've got that Skitarii force done, what I'll do is I'll bring it up as part of the show. I'll show you my list, and perhaps maybe we might get like a bit of a community effort going on, and together we might like paint a unit a week or whatever it is. And the idea is to get them done at an appreciable level. Is that a term? An appreciable level? Thank you. And maybe see if we can get them done quickly. That's the plan. Beautiful book. I'll show you inside in a minute. Some comments going in. Adrian says, I got me that one as well. You'll have to wait for the Knights Codex for the armature rules. Yeah, that's fair. I just really like the model, and I thought it would be nice kind of as an addition, and then as and when that codex comes out, I'll go and get that one so I can have the rules for it. And then Adrian says, I didn't make you. Yes, you did. You gave me something, it inspired me, and it made me go and spend money. How dare you, sir? My honour has been sated. As he drinks his tea. Very British of me. Anyway, yeah, so I did a thing, and I'm not cross. I'm over the moon with my new toy. Thank you very much. And my book is wonderful. Yeah, so there's that. That is going to make Kyle angry. So Kyle, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. I know that the whole idea of the show is to work through your backlog, and here I am just buying more things. But it's fun, and it's a hobby, and it's what we all like to do, right? So yeah. So for this first part of the show, what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack on with my Tyranids. I've got here Brenda the Carnifex, and I've also got Susan the Trigon. Yep, named by the community. What I think this is the bit that's kind of been bogging me down a little bit, is because I've not been able to really get stuck into the cool effects that I've been painting on the carapaces of these Tyranids, and because of that, I kind of shy away from it a little bit. A lot of it is down to the blend of the paint, because I've been mixing my own sort of mid colour that I think when I have the time to actually go and search for some grey paints, maybe I'll do that this evening, to find the right shade that I want. I won't be mixing it, trying to get that right every single time won't slow me down. I'll just be able to, straight out the pot, mix it with some water and off I go. And also trying to get the actual technique and trying to kind of develop it is also taking me a bit of time. So I had a little bit of time. I got home a little bit earlier than I thought I would, and I just sat down, had a beer, or just sat down with a cold one on the side, and then just started mixing the paint, getting it right, getting the right color, and then just playing with the brush, and I started to get into a bit of a rhythm. So I should just be able to kind of crack on this evening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take us straight over to the workbench. Here we go. Cool. So here is Brenda the Carnifex, and I've been working tirelessly on this carapace here, and I've got this, and I talk about it every week, but you know, just to kind of show you my thought process. Got a base grey, that's the mid grey that you can see in here, and I've also got this black area, which is a shader ink that was airbrushed on. Ooh, got a bit of dust in there. Yeah, so the black shader airbrushed in, and then a highlight of a mixed grey that I've blended myself to kind of give these highlights. And the idea is to kind of give these random streaking lines going in. It looks really good, but that's kind of hard to do, and I'm still working on, you know, perfecting it. And then I'm going to get like my lightest grey, which is one of the colours I used to mix that one, and then I'll just quickly edge highlight it all, just so it has that really nice, not that pop art sensation, but still those colours that you would expect. Yeah, I really like it. It's taking longer than I wanted it to, but at least it's going to look really good when it's done. So what I started by working my way in the middle and working my way out. I've done all that, and just this evening what I've been doing before the show is I just did these little bits on the side. So they're all looking pretty good now. Pretty happy with it. I can do better, but in time, you know, obviously it'll get to be a better technique. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do this top piece, because this bit over here, I'm a little bit intimidated by it because there's so many edges in various directions. I don't really know how to approach it. So I'm just going to get stuck into it, highlight the middle ridge, and then all these little spikes, I suppose they're all like porcupine spines that you would fire out at someone. I'm gonna like pick those out in white, like I did with the Trigon's claw and teeth, so they'll stand out a little bit. Once I've got this piece done, I'll probably work on the tail section down here, get that bit done, and then maybe go back over to the head. So yeah, that's part one. So I'm just gonna get stuck in straight away. Don't forget, if you've only just turned up, let us know what it is that you're actually painting this evening. I'd love to know. Maybe you're painting something new this week. Maybe you're still on something that you've been doing for the last couple of weeks, like me. Maybe you're in a bit of a trench and you need a bit of motivational just to kind of talk out the problems. Sometimes you just got to sit there and analyze it. Sometimes you need a break from it and put it away, which is why I like to have a couple of projects on the go at the same time. So I normally like to switch from my Games Workshop stuff over to the tanks that I paint, but just to kind of bring a bit of variety to the show. Lately I've been obviously doing both. Hopefully very soon I'm going to get some terrain into the show, so we'll mix it up a bit more as well. Okay, so here I've got my paint on my really nice expensive brush. I've been using my really tiny brush this afternoon, just before the show, which is this one here, but it is so small it doesn't really hold an awful lot of paint, so moving over to this one's going to hold a lot more, but there's every chance I could probably go too heavy. So nice and gentle now. Here we go. I start just by getting the edges done, and it gives me like a little baseline to work from. And then I'll highlight in streaks from that line. But it's also just a really good way of just kind of practicing with the brush, making sure that the paint is the right consistency. Struggling with it a little bit there. Let me just get a bit of water on there. Recently I've discovered that actually it should be just a little bit wetter than I think it should be. So when I think I've got this kind of creamy blend, just a touch more water just allows it to transfer from the brush to the model itself. That's a bit better already. Yeah, there we go. Now, like I say, because this brush is it's got such a larger belly than the other brushes I'm used to, it's quite easy just to apply just a touch too much force, and then the bristles kind of flatten out, and then you end up with a bit of a splodge. Okay, so there's an edge highlight there. Yeah, so you're on a bit too heavy there, but not to worry, because I'm going to be highlighting in there anyway. a few days ago we had an electrician in this house, and the electrician needed access to everywhere in the house to get to all the power points, all the light switches. He was here for hours, so I had to break the studio down again so he could kind of move around and get to all the sockets and things. Took ages. He was very, very good and very efficient and polite, but it meant that I had to rebuild the studio yesterday for today's show. I think I've got all the lights and the cameras all set up better than before, so thanks, Mr. Engineer. It wasn't the internet engineer though, was it? No, it wasn't. Well, that's better consistency. Is come onto the brush a little bit easier now. There we go. Okay. And now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of just do streaks down. I like it to be quite dense, quite close to the edge, so it just makes the edge look that much more highlighted, and then kind of create lines a bit more sparsely away from that dense area. Just all lends to the effect, but because of all these little ridges and things in here where all these spikes are, it's quite hard to make it look natural or good. Again, one of those things, I've got this idea in my head. It's very hard to translate that to what the model looks like. So I think I might rely on like another stage of highlighting when I get the really highlighting grey. Might do some more streaks with that rather than just edge highlighting with it on this particular piece. I'm also going to pick out the lines and the ridges where these spikes are. Again, I don't know if the camera is picking it up so well, but it's looking pretty good. Okay. Quite a lot of light reflecting from my lights here. It's quite hard to see what I'm doing. The black shaders mixed with or combined with the satin spray that I've put on it, the varnish, has made it quite reflective. Not impossible, just a little bit difficult. Okay, that's not too bad. That's pretty good actually. Hopefully you can see that looks kind of cool. It doesn't look not half bad. So now just a bit more. Just some streaks in there, nice and gentle. Try not to go too heavy. around those spiky bits. What I'll do is I will drop some black pin wash in and around those when they're done, just to kind of further accentuate those little spikes that stick out, so that when they're painted white or off-white against this light grey surface with a little black ring around them, they should really stand out. That's the plan in my head anyway. Okay, cool. So that's the center piece there done. Going to go over to the sides now. Just going to wash the brush out because it's quite easy just to forget about that. It's really important to make sure that brush is staying clean all the time, nothing drying in there. Especially if you're watering down your paints quite a bit, it can travel quite high up into the ferrule. Quick swig of the old tea. Get a bit more water in that paint. So we've got some people going in with some comments. Leslie says, now that will probably be an omen for the end of the world if the internet provider actually someone over to sort you out to jittery connection. Yeah, I know, tell me about it. Oh, I see, sent someone when I can write sentences properly. Yeah, you're right, it would. I should imagine, because I live in quite a rural area, that it's one person that deals with quite a large sort of coverage, if you like. So I reckon there's quite a lot of demand on that one person, which I'm okay with. I get that. Just when you're paying for a service, it's quite frustrating that you don't get what you want out of it. But hopefully, this new router that I've got. I say I've got. Actually, my housemate has been dealing solely with it all. It's not down to me, actually. All the credit should go out to him. So thanks very much, Bella, if you're watching this later on. Because I know you're not watching it now. But yeah, if it solves the problems, yeah. And there's no need for someone to come into the house and sort all that out, take a day off work or whatever it is. I'm an easygoing person by nature, if that hasn't come across already. Don't need an engineer to come out if they don't need to, but it would be nice just to kind of have someone to come over and go, yeah, it's not working, mate. It's quite difficult with this brush, like I've said before, to get into some quite tight spaces because it's quite a fat brush. Even though it goes down to quite a point, it can be easy just to catch somewhere that you don't want to, or go in quite heavy. Right, so just trying to go around the edges like I did a minute ago. When I do these cuts or these nicks, if you want, I like to do like a little V around them, make sure I'm in shot, and then do a little line down from them, and then just tidy it all up, and it makes it look like a longer crack than what it actually is. Yeah, that's kind of cool. And then from here, I've done that little outline line. I'm not in shot today, am I? Let me see if I can get myself sorted out. Here we go. Just some lines, quite dense. close to the edge of that plate, if you want to call it a plate. In fact, I do like to make it quite a blocky colour. There we go. And now drawing some more random lines, sparser lines. Do some ones that are longer. Do some little tiny ones. Do some thin ones, do some thick ones. Join some up to other features like that. Okay. Work my way down the sides, getting quite difficult now because that big crab claw's in the way. I think I did a weird thing there, but it doesn't look bad, so that's okay. Trying to choose where the lines look natural is quite a difficult affair, and as soon as you've done it wrong, you don't know you've done it wrong until you've done it wrong, if that makes sense. You think, oh, okay, I'll just put one here, and then you realise, oh, that was not where you wanted it. Probably going in the wrong direction for those lines. Let me just mix a bit of water in some more paint. See if I can get it moving a bit better. Oh, it's so tough. But when it starts to go really well, it's really rewarding. Jeff says, do think a big part of painting is confidence. You can get to the stage of a paint job and stop because you don't want to ruin what you've already done. Yeah, that is half of it. Like when I did the first plate on here, which is this one, it was such a nice feeling because it was just an idea that I had and I just went for it, just had a go, and it just worked so well. And then trying to recreate that has been very, very difficult. And the light is really reflecting today. Let me see if I can just move that away. Is that a bit better? Nope. Oh my god. What do I do? Just crack on. Yes, it's sometimes I accidentally set myself a really high standard just because I've had, a bit of luck, and then trying to re-deliver is tough, difficult. But you just gotta go for it and accept the fact that sometimes before you can be really good, you just gotta practice at it. And that's an obvious thing to say, right? Of course. Okay, getting somewhere. think I need to clean my brush out. The paint is starting to drag a little bit. See if that helps. Okay, here we go. Which way did I have it? Forgetting now. Okay, just trying to, because I did a little outline down the end here. It looks very defined, as you can see the brush stroke. So trying to soften that off by putting some smaller brush strokes 90 degrees to it. So moving towards the edge of the plate here, and that also follows in line with the little sort of imitation cracks, if you like. So it all kind of blends in, just softens that brush stroke that went around, you know. I kind of caked it on a bit too heavy. Right, so I started from here, and I've worked my way all the way around to here to further accentuate the central line here, because it's fun and I want to. Don't really know if I've done enough around here, so put a bit more on. Okay, so I might go from here and around. Right, here we go then. Let's get this kind of U-shaped bit that goes around the chimney here. It's quite a difficult bit to do, because in some places there's actually very little edge to highlight. But we want to highlight it because it helps show the detail that the plate is, it kind of separates to allow space for this chimney. We want to show off that it's kind of growing through itself. So we do that by making a nice coloured line around it, which is proving to be more difficult than I want it to. Okay, that'll be good enough for now. Bring this little line in here because it looks like there is one there. Okay. Add a bit more definition, some of the other detail in the area. Well, this is a tough bit. This whole plate is pretty difficult. Here we go, getting some nice lines in there now. reason, sometimes the paint just doesn't want to come off the brush very well. I know that's all down to the paint that I'm mixing. And the way I like to deal with it is just clean the brush, just reset, come back to it. I'm not a fighter, don't like to fight with the paint. If it's not going to work, it's not going to work. Wash it off, start again, right? That should go much better already. Okay, getting some nice lines in here now. Don't know if that shows up very well. Let me realign my lights. It's all very shiny. That satin gloss or satin varnish I've got on it is proven to be quite troublesome. Jeff goes on to say, it might be good to keep an old figure you painted years ago, just to remind yourself of how you've improved. I saw a model I made 20 years ago the other day and was shocked how toyish it was. Yeah, I think a lot of miniature painters like to compare over the time, you know, that they've been painting, like a current model to one from when they first started, or just one like the beginning of the year or something. It's actually a really interesting thing to do. I remember when I was painting my very first models, they were Space Marines from sort of 1994, and then onwards. And I used to think that they were all that. I used to think they were really, really good. And I know what they look like, and they weren't. I mean, they were very good for me at the time. I was young and didn't really know what I was doing, just slapping paint on and breaking all the rules that we have come to, you know, learn and know and respect. But yeah, it is interesting to see how you've developed, and also what you consider to be good for you, because obviously when you're first starting out, you know what you're doing is good, but over the years it's not, or you know, it is good but you've got better. That's probably the better way of saying it. Is there such thing as bad art? I don't think so. Just better art. So over the time that you've been doing it, it's not that you started off bad, it's just that you got better. But I've never been able to paint fast. I've always had stuff going on and on and on. As you can see, for the last few weeks I've been painting the same things over and over again. Leslie says, "That's looking killer, my friend. Thank you very much. That is really kind of you to say." I'm really happy with not just how this scheme is looking. I'm pretty unsatisfied about how long it's taking, but I'm really impressed with how I've developed from the first yellow toners I painted to where I am now. And even like comparing to a recent model, which were my zone thropes, they looked really good. This looks much better. But it all comes down to self-analyzing, is looking at your paint job and being critical, not to the point to say, "Oh, this is rubbish." You know, what am I doing? But it's about how you improve, and that's not to say that you're improving something that's wrong or bad, but just developing it and pushing your ability as a painter out and making something different. It's really made me better. It's made me more patient, that's for sure, and patience is everything. Perhaps you disagree. Perhaps you're one of those painters that can paint really well, really fast. I am not one of those people. Okay, so I've got the last little bit now, and this is, I suppose, the crown around his head. Her head. We've established that she's a she. A nice heavy edge highlight there. Now come in a bit heavier across the top here. Still following the rules of kind of lines that travel inwards. And then later on I'll come over with another pass with the lightest of my greys, maybe even a white, but that might be a bit too much, and I'll just give a gentle highlight to the outside edges. Darren's come to join us. Evening all. Hi Darren, hope you're well, mate. Thanks for coming along. I hope you're doing well this week. Okay, I have been sticking my tongue out far too much. That part of the carapace for that part of that painting technique is now done. That's a relief, a weight off my mind. I've still got to do the chimneys on it, but I'll do those a little bit later on, another time. I think I might just move on. I've probably got to do the undersides down here and just kind of add a little bit of edging. Not too much, we're not going to see much under there at all, but just to kind of, I don't know, make sure it doesn't stand out if it is seen. There we go, just bring a little bit of edging like that. That's enough there, I think. Yeah, now I'll probably work on this section down here, make this look nice, and then I move on to their head, and then it's just all limbs and things. It'll be quite nice when I get to a point where I can put her on a base, because it makes it much easier to hold, makes it much easier to stand up. She's less prone to damage or, having paint rub off when I'm handling her. Yeah, so that'd be kind of cool. There's a few other bits and pieces where I've got to put some of the black bits on, which is on these kind of forearm sections here. That's still got to happen, and some of the spikes and the hooves have got to be done as well. And there's obviously still some white bits which I modelled, sort of barrels, I suppose, like barrel openings on these organic guns. Yeah, looking nice. Shall I do the tail next, or shall I do the head next? What time are we at? We're at 10:02. I've got some time. I'm going to do the head. Leslie says, I think the best part of painting is creating a style which suits you. I don't paint the same way as most people, but because it's a technique that works for me, I'm pleased with everything I do. Yeah, man, art is a personal affair, isn't it? It's about you just having fun and getting involved and immersing yourself in your hobby. There is no right or wrong way as far as I'm concerned. Do what you want to do. That's why I think abstract art is so influential, so popular. I look at some art like canvas abstract art, and I think that's interesting. Why? What is this? How does this represent what the artist is trying to do? But it's not the point. These are the wrong questions. Abstract is provocative in the fact that it's not relevant, it's not familiar, it's something that we as the viewer are not familiar with. If I painted a masterpiece painting, I can't, but if I painted a painting of a portrait, someone's face, or a person standing there, then whether or not we're familiar with the individual, the subject of that painting, we are familiar with the shape, the outline of a human. We know how to recognize a human. But in an abstract art where you don't know what it is, it's unfamiliar, you don't know. So when the artist is telling you this is their interpretation of something, you kind of have to take their word for it, and then you're on you're in a bit of an adventure, if you like, of trust with that artist, and then it's just about the impression that the artist leaves you with. Although some abstract art does have me heavily confused. And I am one of those people that will go to a museum and I will spend hours sitting or standing in front of a canvas, you know, of a piece of art, and just looking at it. You see it on TV and film sometimes. I am one of those people that will do it. And if you've never been to an art museum and truly done that, and you know, taking your time to not necessarily see everything that's in the gallery, but find a piece that you find interesting, and just kind of absorb it for, you know, a length of time that you you kind of lose yourself into it. It's a very liberating experience just to kind of be there and experience what the artist has done for you. Try it. You never know. I have not yet been to Warhammer World, and it's something that I wanted to do recently, and then obviously pandemic and travel restrictions, etc, etc. I had planned to do it. I am 40 at the end of this year, and I would very much like to be able to go there sometime around that time, if not before. It would be wonderful. And that is, you know, it's a different type of museum, isn't it? It's still a museum, to go and see all the things that people have created. I'd love to do it. Maybe go out there for a couple of days. Take one day just to kind of walk around and see everything as a whole, and then go around and revisit on another day a couple of pieces that really stood out. Getting some really nice narrow lines on this now. That's more what I wanted, really. Okay, well, that's the front plate on a head done there. It looks a little different from all the other plates because there's actually no black on it, so all the other ones have that black stuff on, that black shading. I went a bit too heavy there with that edge highlight. Hopefully that's not going to look out of place in a minute. Starting to get a bit of hand cramp now from holding the brush and weird ways to make sure I get the technique right. Got a couple of pattern ridges. They have like one ridge there, so it kind of gives you like a uniform shape down. So I'm just trying to highlight those before anything. There we go. And then just some gentle lines here, because it's quite a small plate. I don't want to go too far and start blending into the black that's down there too much. The idea is to have several tones of grey. Starting to get some beading there, which I think is because the paint is a bit too wet, so it kind of is easier to collect. It's not what I want, so a quick reset of the brush. Bit of water, bit of paint. Get a nice point on the brush again. We're pretty much at a point where we're going to have a few minutes break, as we always do. I'm just going to see this little section here through. Hopefully I'm in shot for most of this, because it's very difficult for me to check and keep my eyes in focus a lot of the time. This is one of the things I really miss Kyle for, because Kyle's watching the show back and he can tell me, Danny, you're not in shot. Okay, cool. So when he's not around, it shows me up. And we miss Kyle, so hey Kyle, if you're watching this, we miss you, man. The show's not the same without you. It's just me talking. Such a busy man. And he's absolutely gutted that he can't be here at the moment, because he hasn't really finished models before. I finished very few properly throughout my days, you know, just focusing on collecting and having all the cool stuff, and not actually really sitting down and doing model any justice and finishing them. So as part of this show, the success that he's got from it is that he actually has started to finish not just models but whole units, and he's just beside himself, so happy about it. But now of course he's doing his training and it's just got a little bit intense, so he's just had to put it on pause for a little bit. He will return, he will return. I was thinking for a while we were going to get him online tonight. I sent him a couple of messages, and he's actually on a Twilight training course this evening, so he's not able to make it tonight either. I can see some more comments going in over there. What have we got? We've got Jeff says, anyway, war game show at Ascot road trip ? Absolutely. I have said that we should get, I should get on and start planning out a plan for planning out a plan. Yeah, well worded, Danny. An Easy 8 road trip to go and meet as a community, no matter where we are in the world, to go and do some of these conventions that are starting up this year. Some being bold and giving it a go, despite where we are in the COVID world. So yes, I will start looking into this. Work is actually being a little bit easier at the moment, because we've had a whole new influx of new staff just yesterday. My job is to train them. I'm not alone in that. I have colleagues who do the same. It means that the workload is shared by the existing staff, which means less pressure, which is lovely. And it also means that we've in that new tranche of staff, we've also had a new person at my level, which means that my duties get shared just so much more. It means I don't have to do so many frequent very early shifts or very late shifts, which is once that person is trained up, she's all trained up, means that we all get to kind of rest a little bit. So it means that I'll be having a bit more time painting at home, so that I can get more work done between shows and things, which is just so much nicer. It's but I love my job, and I love what I do, and I even like the really long days. But you've got to have some time for yourself and your hobbies and things that you enjoy. So hopefully, very very soon, we'll see some more progress from me. This little bit here, right under the back of, underneath this plate at the back of the head, is really difficult to get right because it's so close. I can't get the angle of attack right. So I just kind of hope that it looks good. That what I do is, you kind of get the impression of it. It's difficult, man. So you notice that I've had to switch this very very tiny brush just to kind of fit it in under there. Gonna make the paint a little bit more watery, just so I don't have to spend so much time. There we go. Don't want to spend too much time just trying to get all those brush strokes in there. Okay, do you know what, for now that's fine. I'm going to further enhance all of that grey with some even lighter grey a little bit later on. I was hoping it was going to look, I'm going to say, better than that, but I know that when I'm done with it with a highlight, the true view that I have for it will come through. But it's just so small an area, it's very hard to get my vision out there. There we go. Okay. Starting to look pretty good. I'm happy with it. When you compare this to the blank canvas, you can see how far she's come. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that, and I quite like to have the trigon on the side there, just as a reminder of how far that development has come. That's good. Anyway, let's get away from the workbench just for a minute, because yeah, it's pretty much that time now for a bit of a break, but for no other reason other than just it's nice for me to not be talking at you all the time, or you to be staring at my face or hands or whatever. So if you need to have a little bit of a break, go stretch your legs, go refocus your eyes, etc., then it's a perfect time to go and do that. If you want to go change your paint water, you should definitely go and change your paint water, like I never really do, but I'm going to go and do it in a minute. Just a couple of comments that have gone in before. Leslie says 40 at the end of this year, you really don't look it, dude. Thanks very much. Jeff, who is my dad, says always been a baby face. Yep, you're right, the family do call me baby face. I still get ID'd for alcohol. So yeah, thank you very much. I do feel very young. And then Luke's come and joined us. Heyo, hi Luke, thank you very much for coming along. I hope you're doing all right, mate. A bit of a late start for you, so maybe you've been busy. I'd love to know what you guys are doing. I'll be back in just a few minutes, so don't go anywhere, or if you do, come straight back. See you in a minute. And I'm back. I had to pause because I hadn't activated my microphone. So sorry. Yeah, cool. I've got the airbrush out. I'm doing some tanks now. Moving on. Quite happy with what I did with the Tyranids this evening. Talk a little bit more about my plans with those, immediate plans with them anyway in just a minute. I've got my airbrush back out, doing a bit of pre-shading on the 3 German mini tanks that I was been doing over the last couple of weeks. Just kind of getting up to the point where we're going to do some highlight shading on them. Highlight shading? Highlighting? Just say highlighting, Danny. Darren says there's a scale model show at Bovington 2 days out in one. Okay, cool. Maybe we can go do something there as well. I'm going to have a look at a lot of different places and see what sort of options are available to us, and then I'll post them up on Facebook, and then you can contact me anytime you like, probably over on Easy8 Discord at the Easy8 After Party. You can drop comments in here on the video. You can talk to me on Facebook, wherever. Throw in some suggestions and tell me what you like, and maybe we can go and meet up and have an Easy8 present somewhere. That will be lush. When I said lush, that's how good that is. Anyway, cool. I hope you're having a good evening. I hope you're getting lots painted. I'm having a really good time here. My airbrush is being as jippy as it always is, but I'm getting some good effects over here at the moment. Just trying to make sure that I'm happy with the state of shading. Oh, don't tell me I've got a blockage right now, or if I just ran out of paint. Oh no, there it is. It's working now. It's not what I want. Couple of these colours do like to dry faster than others, meaning if I'm talking it dries up inside so quickly, but we're there now. Anyway, enough of just looking at me painting. Let's go and have a look at what it is that I'm painting over here at the workbench. So just got my tanks out and I'm just playing around with some of the brown colour which comes in the German Dunkelgelb modulation set. It is a part of the dark yellow colours, but it's essentially a brown. So really nice colour, and I like to put it on the tracks just as a bit of a base for when I come in and do the track colours later on. And also, if I haven't done the tracks yet, it's just a nice colour to have on the tracks. It's also a very good way of just using up the last of the paint in the hopper. So I've just been doing this Ferdinand, or the elephant, whichever way you want to call it, during the interval there. Just making sure that I'm happy with it. Again, like all my tanks, I like them to be a bit darker towards the back. So I'm being quite heavy with it there. And in a minute I'm going to go over with some highlight colours and accentuate the other end of it and some of the edges, etc. And then I'll go over with some transpirator, which I've used in the past, with the mid-range colour, and blend it all together, and it should look absolutely killer, as Leslie in the comments said about my Tyranids earlier. Cheers, mate. Dare I say, anyway, tonight's show seems to be going without any hitches. Touch wood, because my bench is made of wood. Wouldn't it be nice if we could get through a show without it falling apart on us? Maybe, if you know anyone who's interested in coming along and being a part of the Easy8 community, get them to come along and tell them how stable this channel actually is. Yeah, mental of late, but hopefully we're up for another good show without any kind of breaks or pauses, or, you know, having to finish the video early because the internet got bored of it. Bring them along, get some other people involved in the community, get them to smash that subscribe button. Let's build the community even bigger so that when we go to a convention, there's going to be loads of us. That'd be so cool. Excuse me, that's not a COVID cough, by the way. I was learning how to use the industrial strimmer at work so I could go around and cut some grass. It was really good fun. However, it's an industrial strimmer. I'm eating a lot of vegetation today and it's still at the back of my throat. Despite wearing all the protective gear, it was still getting up in there. But it was fun. Okay, do you know what? I think I'm at that point where I'm ready to go in with some highlights. He says as he carries on. Yeah, I get the irony. It's not lost on me. Okay. Oh, brilliant. Just finished. So, let's get a little bit of... I'm going to put a bit of 50-50 cleaner water in there because it was just starting to dry out a little bit faster than I thought it would do. Put a bit of that in there. Put my nib protector back on. Just move that out of the way. Okay. What I've learned not to do is to mix up all the cleaner in the hopper because it dries. You can see it there at the bottom. That's just kind of on the hopper itself. And if I go scrub that, it turns into a skin, which then goes through. It's obvious, really, but it's something I've never really given too much thought to. In the last couple of weeks, I've been like, it's not really a good idea, is it? So I just kind of flush through what's in the paint chamber inside the airbrush itself below the hopper. And yeah, then I'll take the hopper off, give it a bit of a rub out. Cool. And now I'll just probably put a bit of water through. Just to kind of clean out the chemical that's in there now. A couple of comments going in. Leslie says, you've got skills, dude. That airbrush work you've done on those tanks really looks awesome. Plus, very realistic. Thanks very much. Yeah, that, man, you're too kind with the things that you say about me. If you knew the people I knew. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it's not a realistic paint scheme, but it's a fun way and a bit of a cheating way of getting something that looks realistic. That's kind of artistic and fun. But thank you very much for saying so. You get no problems at all at the end there, I see. Yeah, it's very kind. I love kind of painting all the historical stuff and making them look realistic but not realistic at the same time. Got a bit of a blockage there just as it's kind of bringing the last of that paint through. Let's just... I put a bit of cotton wool over the end and then blast it. You can see the little air bubbles coming up inside. That means that it's forcing everything backwards, which is generally a good way of getting cleaner up inside. There we go. Let's see what happens now. And then flushes through perfectly. Okay, cool. Put my protector back on. And then just unscrew this. It's clean in there now, but the hopper still has paint in it, so yeah. Because these AK paints really do skin like a soup very, very quickly. So it's just a good idea to not clean that out. Oh, itchy head. There it is. It actually has come out of the hopper, so that would have gone through the airbrush. Jeff says, you going to camo one of those German tanks? With many question marks. Yes, I have. I've left it down there in my little box of paints. I've got the German camouflage set. It would be cool if I could actually start getting some of the colours on today. That is a bit of a plan of mine today. I think that would be awesome. And then I can do some pin washing and things. Got my pin wash all ready here as well. But yes, I would like to get the camo paints on all of them because it'll be fun. Maybe I'll do different styles on them. Maybe I'll leave one of them just in the Dunkel Gelb colours. Maybe the Ferdinand, perhaps. I don't know. We'll just see how it goes. Maybe I'll get your input as we go. But for now, I need to get a highlight colour on them. and I am tempted to buy the primer red set, because they have a full modulation set. I've got an itchy head. There we go. There's a primer red modulation set that you can buy from AK. I'm quite tempted to do that. Not that I'm going to be painting many tanks in it, so I don't know. Maybe I'll just buy one colour. Right, out of all of these colours here, so the modulation sets for this Dunkelgelb colour, I've got the darkest, I've got a mid-dark, I've got the base colour, I've got a light base and a highlight colour, then there's a shine. I want a highlight colour. I don't want to be not bright enough and I don't want to be too bright, so I'm going to choose this one. And this should be, give it a really good shake, should be a really nice bright colour. Is it going to be too much? Let's let fate decide. Let's give it a go. Is it too bright? Is it too bright? No, it won't be, because we're going to go over some transpirator in a minute anyway. I'm going to put a little bit of airbrush thinner in there first. I like to mix up the order in it sometimes of the paint and the chemicals and things that I put in there, just in case it makes the mixing process different, because who knows, right? I'm going to put in, I reckon, about 12 drops or so. I'm not counting because I'm talking as I do it. I've put one good drop of airbrush thinner in there, and I'm going to put maybe 3 drops, no, just 2 drops of airbrush flow improver in. I put the same in with the darker colour a minute ago, put 1 drop of thinner, 2 drops of flow improver to about the same amount as paint, and it was starting to just dry a little bit when I was doing it, but I think that's because of that particular paint. It's a little, it wants to dry a little bit more than the others, so maybe this will be good with this colour here. Give it a bit of a mix around inside that hopper there. Just a crappy old brush. Tip it back a little bit, make sure that there's nothing rolling forwards. Tip it forwards, make sure there's nothing rolling backwards that you're missing. Give it a bit of a stab, mix it around. There we go. And wash the brush off. And then we should have a nice highlight colour. That should be fine. I'll just push that little blob around there with some air to make that dry out so I don't accidentally put my hand in or another tank in or something. I'm going to start with the Jagdpanzer. Jagdpanzer? Jagdtiger. Wow, several models ahead. Okay, cool. So, the easiest thing here to do, I think, is to probably just start on the tip of the cannon, on the top side. Underneath is shaded, and it gets lighter on the top. And then just towards the end, let's just give it a little bit of a... that is actually the perfect colour that I wanted. I didn't want anything dark. Yeah, the darker version of this one. All the way around there. Not too heavy. Just about halfway down. Just give it a bit of something. Now, if this was a larger scale model, I could do several grades of highlight to it. But it's a 50mm tank, who cares, right? And now I'm going to just work from the front, and I'm just going to try and hit some of the edges, and I'm going to try, because the back of the tank is much darker than the front, I'm going to try and make it shinier at the front. I will still edge some of the areas around with the highlight colour, and then I'll blend it all together with a mid-tone again. There we go. Hit some of the hatches at the top up there. Just kind of accentuate some of the details. On the front, we've got the ball turret, the ball the ball gun thing. Give that a bit of a shine. Give the front of the mud guards there, and the corners. Kind of focus those as areas, and then kind of take some lines. Follow the actual angles. And this has been my own kind of personal sort of technique that I've developed from watching others on YouTube and things, and it seems to work. So yeah, it's been a bit jippy inside the airbrush again, so take off the nib protector, just clean down that needle tip. There we go. Now, I've seen lots of videos from various YouTube influencers talking about how the techniques on how to use the airbrush. Should you do it in long strokes to kind of keep the paint flowing, or should you do it in pulses? There seems to be pros and cons for each, and some people say that you should do pulsing shots, you should do like, or you should just do kind of like strokes. I see all the fors and against, but there doesn't seem to be any one particular style that is better than all the others. So if you're having a go, just do what works. So without trying to undo all the shadow work at the back of the tank here, I'm just trying to just bring a little bit of brightness to some of the edges and some of the bits that kind of stick out a little bit. For example, these little like loading hooks on the back here, where they probably would have moved the hull together in the factory on giant cranes. Tips of the exhausts and things like that. You know, I might paint things up a bit later on. Add some different colours in there, perhaps. And it kind of looks all a little bit random and mismatched at the moment, but it's going to come together. We know it is. We've seen this happen before. And then, of course, there's like big open areas where we can add just a bit of highlight. It's not just about edges. I've had one little tiny white dot go on there. And I like to increase the brightness when it gets towards the edge it's kind of come from, so it softens the brightness down towards the bottom there. And then here, do the same. Okay, now along the wheels. Now earlier on when I did the wheels, you can see that there's like a line of shade that goes along them. If I turn it up, you can see that the shade goes up. So now I'm going to spray down. Darren says, gonna catch you later. See you later, Darren. Hope you're well, mate. Take care of yourself. Oh, I've gone a bit heavy there. That came out a bit quick. That's fine. Now I'm just going to basically go the opposite direction with this highlight colour and spray down. So now we kind of get this bit of a mix. It's got a bit heavy there, but we'll sort that out in a bit. Jeff says elephant would be good to start with, as it's quite a slab. Oh, it's quite slab-sided. Yeah, you're right. Actually, it might be a really good one to start with. Perhaps I will. That's obviously for the camouflage for those people that didn't catch that comment earlier. What's he talking about? Quite a lot of depth already just to this model, just by doing those three colours. That's all that is. There's quite a lot going on there. It looks a little bit weird. It looks a bit messy on this side because I went a bit heavy. But it's a 15mm model. Who cares? Quite likes to dry. This one is spitting everywhere. If this was on a bigger model, I'd be probably cleaning the airbrush out again at this point. Just want to get the glacis, or the glacis, I think it's glacis, which is the angular front section of the tank. Just kind of want to bring a little bit of brightness to it with a bit of highlighting. Okay, cool. And there we go. That's that one done. Really weird, but it will look fine in just a minute. Still got some colour in there, so I'm just going to keep on going. Let's go to, do you know what, because we spoke about the elephant, let's go to the elephant, because if I run out now, I could just play around with a bit of transpirator perhaps. So, to start on the front of the tank, we're going to do the end of the cannon. Do the front of those mud guards there, and just kind of work my way down. Get the glacis. Try not to overwhelm areas that I've rendered with shadow already. Trying to blend them in some places, complement them, or juxtapose them in others. Now I've got engine ports here which I've shaded, but the panels between them I'm going to try and brighten up a little bit. Add some flary contrast in there. I'm just saying buzzwords now, aren't I? I hope I make sense. If not, do call me out on it, because it would be funny more than anything. I do believe actually on Discord Luke has actually made a channel dedicated to just the stupid things that we say on this channel. But Brassy Brass is the one that's on there at the moment. Okay, just trying to pick out some of the details on the top there. You've got all the little hatches and air filtration bits and pieces. It's quite nice to just pick them out with a bit of colour. It's spitting quite a bit, so it means I've got a bit of a blockage somewhere inside the nib. Inside here, perhaps, maybe there's a bit of a blockage in there. There's more than likely going to be in there. Always gets to about this stage. It might just be that it's time to buy a new airbrush, because I've done so much learning with this one that I might have actually have just kind of damaged the inside. There might be a scratch where paint sits inside, and it kind of dries, and obviously it snowballs from that really. Yeah, look at that big spatter gone on there. Not what you want. Not what you want at all. Getting a lot of bubbles that are coming out. Stop it now. Oh man, it's been a real pain in the backside now. Right, let's just give the needle a bit of a nudge, see if that dislodges anything. Seems to have done something. Okay, cool. He says sprays all over the model. Cotton is really quite good just to kind of dab, and it just takes most of that off. It'll be hidden. It might actually add to some of the effect in a little bit, like weathering or damage or something. But again, if it was on a bigger build, I wouldn't really be happy with it. Okay, that's another one done. Not all that well, but trying to learn to not be precious about some projects, because they don't need to be precious. Just pick up some of those splatters. There we are, we're starting to see a similar thing now. If I compare it to this one, the difference there, quite tremendous. Right, so put those away. Let's get the King Tiger Well, hopefully the paint in the hopper isn't being so sticky. This one's a little bit different than the other two because it actually has a turret rather than a casemate. If you could stop spitting all over my tanks, that would be lovely. Thank you, airbrush. You can see actually on this particular tank that the shade actually went on in quite a spitting fashion. Very hard to see actually on the camera. Maybe you can see it's quite spattery. Jeff says, you still got to paint the Firefly's barrel with that undercolor. Yeah, actually, a lot of my other mini tanks I've put on hold because I'm trying to get some transfers for them, for all the countries. Not going to go mental with all them, all the different transfers and things that you can get for tanks at this scale, but just some, like, nation identifying things like the German cross, etc. But until I've got those, I don't want to go any further with painting on them, so I've put the Firefly on hold for a minute. However, I have found a little while ago, I did find some really good transfers. Actually, Flames of War do them. So of all the places I've been looking, I've been avoiding the obvious one. They've got some really nice and simple ones as well. It doesn't have to be anything over the top at this scale, because it would just look too much. Less is more, remember, especially at this scale. Stop spitting, man. What is wrong with you, airbrush? Do you know what? It's time to give it a clean through. So bear with me, because it's just going to get more and more frustrating, and it's just going to ruin the model. I can handle a little bit at a time. Let's mix that up in there. Gonna get some neat cleaner in there. There are some different airbrush brands that I've been looking at recently. There's a Sparmax one which looks like it might be quite an affordable option. It has an adjustable nut on the back of the needle fixture, which means that you can set a limit bar for where you want the needle to come back to, meaning that you have like a preset spray, which will be really handy because I find it very easy in my amateurness to overspray, or to apply too much pressure basically, and get, as we've seen on the show before, and you just kind of get like too much paint blasting. Yeah, there is a bit of a blockage going on inside this airbrush. So to get this through, I'm actually having to pulse the airbrush, which is one of the reasons that pulsing is a good method of using the airbrush. It's because it seems to dislodge the paint inside. It keeps it moving, keeps it agitated. So if there is a blockage forming, it kind of moves it around. And now you can see that the paint is just, well, you can't actually because it's kind of out of shot, but the paint is just literally emptied from the hopper after a couple of pulses. If you've got the airbrush in constant flow, what's happening is you're just going to getting a constant layer internally where it's just passing over, and eventually that will just kind of start to layer and build, but it's going to give you smoother painting on the on the thing, on the subject that you're painting. So like the tanks in this case. Right, let's make this nice and quick because we're 1:45. It'll be nice to get them, a couple of these, with a layer of transparate on to actually blend those colours together. But very quickly we need to get some cleaner through these. Here it is. I've got some cleaning brushes that I put through. They are often quite a tight fit when you're getting right inside the internals. So I've got these little cleaning wires, and the idea is that you just push them through. They are turned, so they have like a surface to them, like that. And yeah, what I do is I kind of just find one that fits through the seals. It's a bit of a tight fit, that one, but it's actually pulled out quite a lump of paint from the inside. So that was the previous colour in there, probably not helping the blockage at all. I'll take the next thickest one, just pop that in there, and that's gone through, so you can see it coming out the end. Now there's a big blockage there, not so great. Now what I do is I just use that as a guide and just pour cleaner into the airbrush, and it should just run down that wire and just back and forth. And then I'll go in the other side as well. I can go in there with my rubbishy paintbrush. I can put a bit of cleaner on the end of it. There we go. Into the top where the paint sits, inside the paint chamber. Where the nib sits, where the air comes through. So the paint comes through the central hole in there, and there's a gap down the side where the airflow comes through. Paint can back up in all of these areas. That is often where I find it. It might just be the design of this particular airbrush. It clogs up in certain areas. Or it might be because when I was first learning how to use this airbrush, I might have scratched it or damaged it. So yeah, who knows? Using the airbrush actually helped improve my painting, even as a brush painter, because it starts making you think about how paints actually function. So I recommend at least learning how to use an airbrush by just watching YouTube videos and things, because you never know, you might pick up a hint or a tip, maybe the inspiration to go and get one. Leslie says the airbrush was raised by the Spitty Spits family. They learn how to spit before anything else. Yeah, it's frustrating. Makes me want to say bad words. Again, I'm just going to put a bit of neat cleaner on the needle. Just rub it up and down with the brush there. I think the end of my needle is quite damaged, and I think that's one of the culprits, is that through years of, a couple of years of misuse, I can see paint now is actually encrusted on the needle tip quite a bit, and I think that on an almost microscopic level there's damage on there, and the paint just kind of sits in it and it builds up very, very quickly, and of course that's right at the business end of the airbrush, so any problems I'm going to get are going to be right there. But like I said before, I do have a sonic bath, like a little sonic cleaner, which is really good for cleaning jewellery and things. And it is a top purchase for airbrush users. Some little brushes. Just shove the thinnest one into the nib. There's a little bit of dry paint on the end of that as well, which probably wasn't helping. This is what protects the needle tip itself when you're painting. Sorry, it doesn't protect it. This is the bit that isn't protecting it. This is actually just the nozzle. So the needle goes into here, like where the brush is going, and it closes up, and then when you pull it back, it lets paint through. And it's very hard to clean. You could clean it with a pin, but you do risk scratching it. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that into the screw thread. Pop the little protector over the end. That's ready to go back in. Now when you put it back together again, it's best to put the needle in backwards so that you don't run the risk of damaging the tip, which is so easy to do. And if you do damage it, replacements are about 30 quid just for the needle. So yeah, don't damage the tip, don't damage the needle, don't damage any part of it, just don't. Okay, so got the trigger mechanism and the back piece that holds the needle in place. Let that fall through. It is quite grubby still, I can see that it's quite dirty, so I'm going to give it a really good clean later. Hold that in place for a moment, there's no needle sticking out the end, pop the nozzle back on, screw it nice and tightly, and then push the needle through, and it will just pop out there. There we go. Tighten up the needle, stick the hopper back on, put the end cap on. It's like stripping a gun down. It's not like stripping a gun down at all, don't listen to me. Hose on the bottom, and a little bit of cleaner comes out. Pop a little bit more through. Seems to be working okay now. Just get that through, and then because we put some chemical through, we need to get some just some clean water in there. There we go, that's going through. Bad words, says Leslie. I used to have a Badger airbrush, says Jeff. Was a terrific piece of kit with a setting nut on it till I killed it. I remember you saying some time ago that you put spirit through it and it destroyed the seals, I believe, if I remember correctly. Yeah, make sure you clean your airbrushes out, especially if you're using harsh things like that in there. Badger is a very popular choice of airbrush. So this one is a harder and Steenbeck Evolution. The Evolution 2 has a much better nib as far as I'm concerned, and it also has an adjustable nut on the back that isn't at the back up here. It actually has like a little cutaway in the side of here. You can adjust it on the fly, which is really cool. They are expensive though, aren't they? So it's that balance. Right, so got it back and working with a few minutes to go to the end. So what I want to do, I want to get some Transpirator by Ammo Mig. Got a little agitator ball in there. Gonna shake this up. Gonna put my little highlight colour away for a minute, and I'm gonna get my original colour, Dunkelgelb base. This is the base colour that I painted them all. And what I do is I mix a 50-50 ratio of this, and it turns it into a glaze, like a wash, a filter, and it will blend all the colours back together again. But because it's slightly translucent, the colours will shine through underneath. So it will just kind of brings it all back together again. But the trick is now, of course, is to make sure that the airbrush is working fine, that I've got no blockages. I'm going to have to mix in the bowl. So I'm going to put 4 drops. Do you know what I'm going to do? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's 5 drops of Transpirator, and then I'm going to put 5 drops of paint in there, give them a really good mix, and then hopefully, let's get rid of that cat hair. Thank you very much. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's quite a runny paint. Give them a really good mix in the bottom. Tumble it around inside, give it a swirl, give it a stab. Backwards and forwards, side to side. Wring the bristles out in there, wash it out. Okay, now what we've got is a colour that is translucent. Now you can see on this piece of paper here the different colours I've got. I've got a highlight colour there, I've got some shaded colours, I've got some normal colours, and if I just kind of give it a basic flow over the top, you can see that it just affects the colours. Brilliant, that's exactly what we want. So let's start from the front and work our way up. We don't want these, huge colours. We want softer colours. Fortunately, the spatter from that highlight colour is showing through quite a bit, but we're going to camouflage, so it'll be fine. Starting to spit even with the Transpirator in there. clogging up already. I'll take my little protector off the end. I'll just give the needle tip wipe over. I think it is the needle. I think that is where all of my problems are coming from. There we go, starting to blend. And in a second what I'll do is I'll put all of the tanks side by side and you can see the difference. This is actually really working really, really well. Now that that got the airbrush kind of flowing properly. So much fun. And this, of course, this whole process would have taken much less time if my airbrush was actually in good condition. Okay, so here is a tank. Let me just pop the turret on there. That hasn't really had the highlight colours put on there yet, but you can see how bold those colours are. Here is the tank with all the highlight colours on there, and here's the tank that has the transpirator over the top. It just works. It's such a great product. If you have an airbrush, I really recommend it. And it's basically just for making filters. It's quite easy to go over the top, so I'm just going to put it to the side. The Agtiga, right from the front. Whatever was bothering the airbrush a minute ago, it seems to be moving on with its life, which is good. I've just used up all the transpirator in the hopper. Okay, let's not stop. Let's take the hopper off, give that a wipe out in case I put anything through. I don't want to. Put a cotton ball in there. Give it a swizzle. Wonderful. That's a clean hopper because I'm going to be mixing in there. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's paint and transpirator. Get a clean and dry brush. Give it a mix. In fact, on the Ferdinand there, I've probably gone a little too heavy with the transpirator over the highlighted areas. It does shine through. I've lost a little bit of the effect. Only in some areas. I know it because I've painted it. It's very personal now, isn't it? Okay. Cool. Let's carry on. That's wonderful. So easy, so quick. And then, yeah. So all I know, what I've got to come back to now is put a bit of highlight on this tank here. I'm not going to do it tonight. I'm really tired. I've got an early start tomorrow morning, but I know that over the next few days I could just come back in, just set the airbrush up, put some highlights on it, do some transpirator, bring all these bad boys together. And then I will make sure that I don't do any camouflaging on them until next show, because I've not done any camouflage before, and I think it'll be really nice to see, you know, the learning process of that, because that's one of the benefits of doing live shows, right? Is that we kind of get to see problems occur and how we deal with them, etc. on the fly. Pop him there, come back to the Ferdinand, which is almost dry. I'm just going to hit him with a little blast of just air, just to kind of help speed that drying process up a little bit. While I'm doing that, I'm just going to make sure that we are coming to the end of the show. Thank you very much for coming on today. Thank you for being patient with all of the technical problems that I've had of late. Thank you for praying hard to whatever deity needed praying to make sure that tonight went without a hitch. I fully appreciate it. Just doing the sides now of these tanks. And the undersides there as well, which doesn't need so much, but it's nice to kind of bring it all together. wonderful. Maybe the new router did what it was supposed to do. Leslie says, I'm going to have to shoot off now, but I'm glad this evening's show went without any hiccups. Take care, everyone. See you later, Leslie. Thank you very much for stopping by. Take care of yourself. Be safe, be kind. See you soon. You can, of course, always watch the rest of the show back on playback, right? A little bit of air just to help encourage that paint to dry a little faster. It might actually be worth me buying a little mini hairdryer, perhaps. That'd be quite handy, I think. And right at the end, just before I could finish off this particular tank, ran out of transpirator again. Because it's so much more watery, or that's even a word, it goes through the airbrush much faster. But I just kind of wanted to get to the stage of, you know, as much as I possibly could. Cool. Well, there we go. Did some Tyranids, did some mini tanks. It's been pretty successful. Airbrush just kind of put me through some hoops over there, but it's so nice to know that the little tanks are really coming along. Really happy with them. It's really quite nice to see, now that I've got one that's sort of half done and some that are completely or almost completely done, to see how well that all the different products that I use really kind of work together there. In some cases, the shadow colours that I've got, the darker colours, haven't really blended well with a transpirator, so I might kind of revisit them later on. They look a little off color, not where I really want them to be, but there still is a definite shading, rendering, highlighting process going on, which is really attractive. And it's so simple once you just kind of get into the habit of pre-shading, essentially. It's a really effective style. Definitely something that you should check out. Anyway, so yeah, it's been a really good week. I've been out in the sunshine. I've been traveling around. I've been doing lots of training at work. I've been meeting lots of new people, which is always exciting. Finding a little bit of time to get to the hobby today, and hopefully now over the next week I'm going to be doing a little bit more. I've got my new codex. I've got my armature. I've got my Tyranids that I've been painting. I've got the tanks going on over here. I'm going to put up some photos. Maybe not this evening. Maybe I will get some time to do it. I'm going to be on the Easy 8 after party just after this for a short period of time while I'm cleaning up the airbrush, and I might take some photos of this stuff here. Do put up some photos of the stuff that you've been doing tonight or throughout the week. Let me know your progress. Show me how you're getting on. Get some feedback from the community. In the meantime, have yourselves a really good week between now and the next show. Hopefully we'll see Kyle some point in the near future. I'm going to go and get a hot cup of tea because that is awful. I will see you all guys next week. Until then, be safe, be kind, take care, and keep on painting. See you around. Take care now. Bye-bye. Finally, a show that didn't stop halfway through.